Hi, my name is Dana Rosado, and my presentation is on digital activism. Digital activism is when real action is fueled by social media or internet action. For example, Facebook and Oscar Morales. Oscar Morales started Un Millón de Voces contra las Farsi, which is A Million Voices Against Farsi. This is a Facebook campaign that he began without meaning to. Oscar Morales, like many other Colombians, was frustrated by the terrorist group called Farsi. And he saw that no one was talking about it. There weren't any groups for it on Facebook, although there were many protests on other things, many more insignificant things. So he decided to make a group, and he posted one night just out of frustration. And the next morning, thousands had liked and joined the group and were following him. Within months, people had gathered together. They formed marches. This was globally as well. All because they could come together, discuss things, all for a common cause peacefully, and they didn't have to be right in front of each other. All they needed was a Facebook account. Social media gives a voice to the people. This is just a picture showing what people are asking for. They're saying, no more AK-47s, no more machetes, use Twitter and Facebook to start a revolution. And I think this is a big difference between a riot and a protest, a peaceful protest, of people coming together from all walks of life. They could be someone in a big corporation, or they could be someone who's normal. All you need is a way to contact others through social media, whether that be a Facebook account, whether that be a Twitter account. And this is a way for people to come together and make change. Schools are also taking advantage of social media. And though this says that it helps students, it's also helping the teachers. In Iowa, there were a group of teachers who protested against the Elementary and Secondary Education Board because they were proposing a legislation that could ruin their career. If certain things happen, I believe it was, if there was a complaint, there was a chance that you could not only be terminated from your job, but you couldn't teach anywhere. So they sent 5,000 emails complaining against it, and within weeks, the proposals were revoked. David Kirkpatrick came up with the term the Facebook effect. The Facebook effect is essentially the relationship between a cause and the way in which people receive that on Facebook, the way that people connect on Facebook. So Facebook is set up in a way where you can have contact with just about an infinite amount of people. That's whoever has a Facebook account. And they're able to follow certain groups. So in this case, it would be a cause, follow a cause, be updated on it, be able to post on it. And not only do those people who willingly post on it or follow it receive that information, but their friends on Facebook, this includes friends, family members, and perhaps strangers for the most part, also receive this information indirectly through their dashboard. So a cause is gaining lots of recognition without as much work as it would be without using social media, out and outside of the internet. But the Facebook effect doesn't only work just for Facebook. It also works for similar social media like Twitter. Mike Brown was an African American teenager who was unjustly killed by a police officer. A lot of people started to protest this, especially people of the African American community. So there's a portion of Twitter that people refer to as Black Twitter that they post a lot about Mike Brown and also other similar cases. And one of these posts that people keep hashtagging, is "If They Gunned Me Down." And what they were talking about is when they first came out with the news of Mike Brown, on the news they showed the first picture of him in the red holding up a peace sign. For some people, they said it was a gang sign. And he looks like he could be a thug. He looked like he might be trouble. But in the second picture, which surfaced much later, you can see that he just looks like a regular teenager. He has his school jacket on, just headphones. This is a more innocent picture of him, and yet they use the first. So people began saying, if they gunned me down, which picture do you think they would use? And so we have her at a shooting range. She has a license, and her father was a police officer. But if she were gunned down, she's saying that they would probably use that first picture and not her second picture, which shows her speaking at a conference. And he also did the same. So this is just a way that people have their voice being heard. And they don't even have to leave their house. So if you feel strongly about something, and you think other people feel strongly about it too, and even if they don't, social media is a good way to get in the mix and to have your voice be heard. Digital activism is making moves to have your voice be heard, to have the people's voice be heard. And I saw somewhere it said, I read something somewhere that said, social media is now our mainstream media. So though people look at the news, people don't always believe what's on TV. If you look on social media, whether that be Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, you'll see a lot of things, a lot of causes that you don't always hear about on the news. You'll hear the flip side of that, and usually that's the more accurate of the two medias. There was a portion on here that I did not include on my board that I will explore more in my paper, and that is an issue with digital activism. Many people feel that digital activism is actually hurting the causes that they're trying to change. And this is because they're saying that people are worried more about what they like or what they follow, how that affects their image on social media. So for people who are for PETA or people who are for Mike Brown, some people say that they're doing it just for themselves, just for how it makes them look, and not actually making moves towards the cause or they'll like something and post, but they won't make any real steps outside of the computer to have an effect on it. And this is called slacktivism. I'll explore that more in my paper though.